Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padhaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadhi Prachatya Desha Tarinem. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindham. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today. I can currently see Arvind Prabhu, Anuradha, Anupama Radhika, Bhakti Devi, Drishti. Good to see you again. Ian Prabhu, and not sure who the iPhone is. Manjula Mataji, Mbada Prabhu, Meena Jatani, and Purna Mataji has just joined. Okay, so can I kindly ask devotees, those who want to read today, so that I can pick accordingly, kindly raise your hands. Arvind Prabhu and Manjula Mataji. Right, so let's begin with Manjula Mataji, and then we'll move on to someone else. Let me share the screen. First 16 verses, Manjula Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu. The great sage Maitreya continued, my dear Vadura, being very much satisfied by the performance of 99 horse sacrifices, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, appeared on the scene. Accompanying him was King Indra. Lord Vishnu then began to speak. Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, said, my dear King Prathu, Indra, the King of Heaven, has disturbed your execution of 100 sacrifices. Now he has come with me to be forgiven by you. Therefore, excuse him. O King, one who is advanced in intelligence and eager to perform welfare activities for others is considered best amongst human beings. An advanced human being is never malicious to others. Those with advanced intelligence are always conscious that the material body is different from the soul. If a personality like you, who is so much advanced because of executing the instructions of the previous acharyas, is carried away by influence of my material energy, then all your advancement may be considered simply a waste of time. Those who are full in knowledge of the bodily conception of life, who know that this body is composed of nescience, desires and activities resulting from illusion, do not become addicted to the body. How can a highly learned person who has absolutely no affinity for the bodily conception of life be affected by the bodily conception in regard to house, children, wealth, and similar other bodily productions? The individual soul is one, pure, non-material, and self-effulgent. He is the reservoir of all good qualities, and he is all-pervading. He is without material covering, and he is the witness of all activities. He is completely distinguished from other living entities, and he is transcendental to all embodied souls. Although within the material nature, one is thus situated in full knowledge of the Paramatma and Atma and is never affected by the modes of material nature, for he is always situated in my transcendental loving service. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, continued, my dear King Prathu, when one is situated in his occupational duty, engages in my loving service without motive for material gain, he gradually becomes very satisfied within. When the heart is cleansed of all material contamination, the devotee's mind becomes broader and transparent, and he can see things equally. At that stage of life, there is peace, and one is situated equally with me as Satchit Anand Vigraha. Anyone who knows that this material body, made of the 5 gross elements, the sense organs, the working senses, and the mind, is simply supervised by the fixed soul, is eligible to be liberated from material bondage. Lord Vishnu told King Prathu, "My dear king, the constant change of this material world is due to interaction of the 3 modes of material nature, the 5 elements, the senses, the demigods who control the senses, as well as the mind which is agitated by the spirit soul. All these taken together comprise the body. Since the spirit soul is completely different from this combination of gross and subtle material elements, my devotee who is connected with me in intense friendship and affection, being completely in knowledge, is never agitated by material happiness and distress. My dear heroic king, please keep yourself always equipoised and treat people equally, whether they are greater than you, in the intermediate stage, or lower than you. Do not be disturbed by temporary distress or happiness. Fully control your mind and senses. In this transcendental position, try to execute your duty as a king in whatever condition of life you may be posted by my arrangement. For your only duty here is to give protection to the citizens of your kingdom. To give protection to the general mass of people who are citizens of the state is the prescribed occupational duty of a king. By acting in that way, the king in his next life shares 1/6 of the result of the pious activities of the citizens. But a king or executive head of state who simply collects taxes from the citizens but does not give them proper protection as human beings has the results of his own pious activities taken away by the citizens, and in exchange for this not given protection, he becomes liable for punishment on the impious activities of his subjects. Lord Vishnu continued, "My dear King Prathu, if you continue to protect the citizens according to the instructions of the learned Brahmana authorities as they are received by the disciplic succession, by hearing from master to disciple, and if you follow the religious principles laid down by them without attachment to ideas manufactured by mental concoction, then every one of your citizens will be happy and will love you. And very soon you'll be able to see such already liberated personalities as the 4 Kumaras, the Sanaka, Sanatana, Sananandana, and Sanat Kumara. My dear king, I am very captivated by your elevated qualities and excellent behavior, and thus I am very favorably inclined towards you. You may therefore ask from me any benediction you like. One who does not possess elevated qualities and behavior cannot possibly achieve my favor simply by performance of sacrifices, severe austerities, or mystic yoga. But I always remain equipoised in the heart of one who is also equipoised in all circumstances." Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you. So, Hare Krishna, thank you. All. So if possible, if you're in a position to open camera, so I request, if you're not in a position, that's okay, but if you're in a position, please do open camera. That will be very nice. So in the previous chapter, chapter 19, entitled King Prithu's 100 or Sacrifice, chapter 9. We had seen how King Prithu had initiated this 100 sacrifice. He had completed 99 horse sacrifices, and that time he was doing 100th sacrifice. But when he was doing 100th, King Indra, so he's afraid of his position. He felt insecure because according to the Vedic tradition and Vedic system, that if one performs 100 sacrifices, one would take over the position of King Indra. So he disguised himself as a mendicant, a sannyasi, and then he stole the sacrificial horse. So that time, the Vijitashva, the son of King Prithu, was advised by the priest Atri Muni, go and get the horse. And he also mentioned that it was actually King Indra who disguised himself as a mendicant, as a sannyasi. So King Vijitashva, son of Prithu, Vijitashva went and he brought the horse back, but he didn't, shoot arrows at this person because he was in the, dress of a mendicant. So, and he did this at least 3 times. Indra did this. Every time when they bring the horse back and initiate the horse sacrifice, so Indra would come and steal it. Seeing this, Lord Brahma came there and advised King Prithu to stop the 100th sacrifice. Let there be 99 sacrifices only for King Prithu. No worries. Just stop it. He had created this, irreligiosity. And Indra might, if you continue to do this, he might introduce so many other irreligious systems, where people, put on the dress of a mendicant and do whatever the mischief that they want to do it. So he is teaching some lessons for unintelligent people. So you might introduce so many other religious systems. So don't worry, just please stop, the sacrifice, 100th sacrifice. So King Prithu was very, very happy. And unlike King Indra, who was envious of King Prithu, so King Prithu had stopped the sacrifice, and then he pleased all the priests over there. Now, because he obeyed Lord Brahma's instruction, and he decided not to conduct 100th sacrifice and see the glory of King Prithu. So Lord Vishnu appeared within the sacrificial arena. But this time, Lord Vishnu came with Indra. So he asked Prithu Maharaj to forgive Indra. Lord Vishnu came directly in front of Prithu Maharaj, bringing Indra with him, and asked Prithu to forgive him. Lord Vishnu says that those who are intelligent, those who are not on the bodily platform, those who know that, those who are detached, those who are actually on the platform of soul and super soul, who can see the presence of super soul everywhere, they're not very much attached to these material things. It will only stay temporary. It's all temporary. So they forgive. So he said to Prithu that please forgive. Mm? And actually, King Indra, and after Lord Vishnu instructed King Indra, fell at the feet of King Prithu. King Indra is king of heaven. King Prithu is king of earthly planet. Hmm? So, and King Prithu forgave. And when he was about to fall down, he just simply picked him up and embraced. Rather, yeah, he did not like, King Indra falling down at his feet. He just, picked him up and embraced him. Hmm? So what the acharyas tell us that here King Indra was not rejected, but he was reformed. When there is when there is an opportunity to reform, that should be considered. But here, yes, King Indra got reformed. And so if we compare, King Indra versus King Prithu, so this will be this will be title of my class if I ever want to give once. 99 is greater than 100. That would be the title. So 99, how is 99 greater than 100? Because this way, by performing 99 only, by stopping 100th sacrifice, he had the vision, he had the audience of Lord Vishnu face to face. Lord Vishnu, he could see Lord Vishnu, he could talk to Lord Vishnu. And thereby he pleased. So, the King Prithu forgave him, and he was submissive. King Indra was stubborn, and King Prithu was flexible, and King Indra was, stubborn, or repeatedly trying to steal the horse. Indra was attached. King Prithu was detached. So this way, is 99 sacrifices are greater than Indra's 100 sacrifices. Indra got the name, no? So his name is Shatakratu, the one who had performed 100 sacrifices. So this way, the conflict was settled. So we also see the conflicts in an organization between two parties. But if we can resolve, the conflict like this, would be nice. But sometimes it is not possible. You have to punish. When the reformation is not possible, then the punishment is only option. So we can give them a chance to reform. But when that is not happening, then they can be subjected to the punishment. So later, Lord Vishnu had instructed some of the wonderful things to King Prithu. He said, you are a king, so your duty is to maintain. Actually, King Prithu was termed as the Adi Raja, king of kings, or the original king. And he said, your duty is to rule the subjects in a nice way, just as father looks after one's children, you should look after all the subjects. And if you rule this way, there is no need for you to give up this position of a king and go to Himalayas and practice meditation and yoga. So here it is also mentioned that, so let me bring up that here. So if you rule the subjects nicely, what would happen is the king would get 1/6 of pious activity of the citizens. Imagine, like, how many citizens. So if a king rules nicely, he gets the share of their pious activity, 1/6 of their pious activity. But if a ruler, the head of the organization, is corrupt and he makes the subjects suffer, doesn't rule well, then what happens is that he becomes liable to punish for their impious activities. So it also, probably it can also be applied to our family life as well. If you're a head of family, so if you look after your family members, bring them up in Krishna consciousness, then you will also get the benefit. But if you don't look after them, and they become corrupt, then we will also be punishable, and we will get their impiety. There are a couple of verses here. Yeah. So here, a couple of more instruction. Please keep yourself always equiposed and treat people equally, whether they are greater than you or the intermediate stage or lower than you. So, and do not disturb by the temporary distress and happiness. Wonderful instruction to Prithu Maharaj, to treat all the living entities equally. And having said this, Lord Vishnu, then he said, I'm very pleased with your behavior. So please, you may ask for a boon from me. But before that, he said, because of your good behavior, you will get the association of great devotees, my great devotees, 4 Kumaras, because of your good character. So now that I'm very pleased with you, you can ask for a boon from me. Usually, I'm not pleased with austerities. And when there is no bhakti, I'm not really pleased. However much austerity they do, however expert they are in the Vedic sacrifices, or studying the scriptures, and undergoing various penances and giving charity, etc. These do not please me very much. But the simple devotion to me, pleases me so much. So I am pleased with you. Please ask for a benediction. So now let's see what King Prithu would ask. And this section is like a nectar. When I was just preparing for that, and I was amazed how wonderful is it. The section, the prayers by King Prithu. So let's go ahead and read the next section from 17 to 22. Maybe can I ask Purna Mataji?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, yes, sure. Thank you.
So just 1 second, Mataji.
Yep. Hare Krishna.
Hare
The
Krishna.
great Saint Maitreya. Shall I start, Prabhuji?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. The great Saint Maitreya continued, "My dear Vidur, in this way Maharaj Prithu, the conqueror of the entire world, accepted the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead on his head. As King Indra was standing by, he became ashamed of his own activities and fell down before King Prithu to touch his lotus feet. But Prithu Maharaj immediately embraced him in great ecstasy and gave up all envy against him for his having stolen the horse meant for the sacrifice. King Prithu abundantly worshipped the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who was so merciful to him. While worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord, Prithu Maharaj gradually increased his ecstasy in devotional service. The Lord was just about to leave, but because he was so greatly inclined toward the behavior of King Prithu, he did not depart. Seeing the behavior of Maharaj Prithu with his lotus eyes, he was detained because he is always the well-wisher of his devotees. The original king, Maharaj Prithu, his eyes full of tears and his voice faltering and choked up, could neither see the Lord very distinctly nor speak to address the Lord in any way. He simply embraced the Lord within his heart and remained standing in that way with folded hands. The Supreme Personality of Godhead stood with his lotus feet almost touching the ground while he rested the front of his hand on the raised shoulder of Garud, the enemy of the snakes. Maharaj Prithu, wiping the tears from his eyes, tried to look upon the Lord, but it appeared that the king was not fully satisfied by looking at him. Thus, the king offered the following prayers. Hare Krishna.
Continue, Mataji.
Okay. Yeah, sure. My dear Lord, you are the best of the demigods who can offer benedictions. Why, therefore, should any learned person ask you for benedictions meant for living entities, bewildered by the modes of nature? Such benedictions are available automatically even in the lives of living entities, suffering in hellish conditions. My dear Lord, you can certainly bestow merging into your existence, but I do not wish to have such a benediction. My dear Lord, I therefore do not wish to have the benediction of merging into your existence, a benediction in which there is no existence of the nectarian beverage of your lotus feet. I want the benediction of at least 1,000,000 years, for thus I may be able to hear about the glories of your lotus feet from the mouths of your pure devotees. My dear Lord, you are glorified by the selected verses uttered by great personalities. Such glorification of your lotus feet is just like saffron particles. When the transcendental vibration from the mouths of great devotees carries the aroma of the saffron dust of your lotus feet, the forgetful living entity gradually remembers his eternal relationship with you. Devotees thus gradually come to the right conclusion about the value of life. My dear Lord, I therefore do not need any other benediction but the opportunity to hear from the mouth of your pure devotee. Sorry. My dear highly glorified Lord, if one in the association of pure devotees hears even once the glories of your activities, he does not, unless he is nothing but an animal, give up the association of devotees, for no intelligent person would be so careless as to leave their association. The perfection of chanting and hearing about your glories was accepted even by the goddess of fortune, who desired to hear of your unlimited activities and transcendental glories. Sorry. Now I wish to engage in the service of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and to serve just like the goddess of fortune who carries a lotus flower in her hand, because his lordship, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the reservoir of all transcendental qualities. I'm afraid that the goddess of fortune and I would quarrel because both of us would be attentively engaged in the same service. My dear Lord of the universe, The goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, is the mother of the universe, and yet I think that she may be angry with me because of my intruding upon her service and acting on that very platform to which she is so much attached. Yet, I'm hopeful that even though there is some misunderstanding, you will take my part, for you are very much inclined to the poor, and you always magnify even insignificant service unto you. Therefore, even though she becomes angry, I think that there is no harm for you, because you are so self sufficient that you can do without her. Great saintly persons were always liberated take to your devotional service, because only by devotional service can one be relieved from the illusions of material existence. Oh my Lord,
Just 1 second. I think there is a noise is coming from. Okay, Mataji. Yeah, please go ahead.
oh my Lord, there is no reason for the liberated souls to take shelter at your lotus feet, except that such souls are constantly thinking of your feet. My dear Lord, what you have said to your unalloyed devotee is certainly very much bewildering. The allurements you offer in the Vedas are certainly not suitable for pure devotees. People in general, bound by the sweet words of the Vedas, engage themselves again and again in fruitive activities, enamored by the results of their actions. My Lord, due to your illusory energy, all living beings in this material world have forgotten their real constitutional position, and out of ignorance, they are always desirous of material happiness in the form of society, friendship, and love. Therefore, please do not ask me to take some material benefits from you. But as a father, not waiting for the son's demand, does everything for the benefit of the son, please bestow upon me whatever you think best for me.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
So I request everyone actually when you go home, uh, yeah, you are actually, when you get some free time, please read the purports of these prayers. I'm sure you will enjoy. And like anything, it is sweeter than nectar, the purports for all these wonderful verses. Mm. So what did Pruth Maharaj ask for? Like when Lord wanted, uh, you know, um, to give a benediction to Pruth Maharaj. Mm. So first he said, I do not want, liberation. Mm. So in text 23rd, he talks about this. Mm. Um, Yeah, so you can give me liberation, like liberation is merging into the existence of Brahman, but I do not want to have such liberation. Hmm? So this is the text 24. Is a nice verse. I'll just recite that. There are other verses also. न कामयेनाथ तदप्यहं क्वचिन् न यत्र युष्मश्चरणाम्बुजासावः महत्तमान्तर्हृदयान्मुखो मुखच्युतो विदत्स्व कर्णायुतं येष मे वरः. So here he says that not merging into the existence or the liberation, but I wanted to hear the message of your lotus feet. Hmm? And that too I wanted to hear from whom? From great soul, Mahat, your devotees, pure devotees, Mukhachuto, from their mouth. So I want to hear the glories of yours from your devotees. So that's why, oh my Lord, please can I have 1 million years? Karna yutam. Karna plus ayutam. Ayutam means 1 million. 10,000 multiplied by 10,000, it seems. So this is the benediction that I want, oh my Lord. So he's very, very greedy to hear. Greediness cannot be given up, but you can be greedy for hearing Krishna Katha, for performing devotional service. And that means he intensely desired to hear the pastimes of the Lord from the lotus mouth of his devotees, pure devotees. And Srila Rupa Goswami, our acharyas, is one of the 6 Goswamis. So he wanted million tongues and a million years. I wish my Lord, if I had 1 million tongues. This one tongue is not able to relish the nectar. When I chant your holy name, that was the level of these devotees. So Prabhupada points out repeatedly in this verse and in the next verse that hearing from pure devotees is very essential. So someone is giving class in the temple, and someone is summarizing like me, and we are nowhere at that level, but ideally we should hear from devotees, not just devotees, from pure devotees, then it will have greater impact. Greater impact. So for that reason, so if you hear the same message, this pastime from a pure devotee, you will have even better transformation and wonderful realizations. So whenever we get a chance to hear from wonderful, like pure devotees or advanced devotees, let's put it that way, we must take advantage, that advantage to hear Krishna Katha from them. We may hear from anyone, but actually hearing from advanced devotees. And our acharyas clearly mentioned not to hear from non-devotees. Who is a non-devotee? They don't recognize Krishna as God. They read Bhagavad Gita, they read Srimad Bhagavatam, and they don't consider Krishna to be God. So our acharyas have clearly mentioned that we should avoid hearing from such type of people, but hear only from the mouth of devotees. So here is the point I want to mention: hear from Prabhupada. So for all of us, whenever you get a chance, you can hear from Prabhupada. It will have a different level of impact on you, whatever it may be. So hear from Prabhupada, number one. Number two, if you are initiated, if you have a spiritual master, or if you are aspiring to take initiation from a guru, then secondly, we must hear from that person also. So these two are must: hearing from Prabhupada and hearing from your own guru or aspiring guru. So, and then after that, we can hear from all other people, not a problem. All other devotees in ISKCON, and take, take the nectar, take the good from everyone, just like a bumblebee collects nectar from all the sources. So we should collect nectar from all the places. But hearing from advanced devotees is very important. Prabhupada repeatedly mentions that point here. And then, so when we hear what happens, devotees gradually come to the right conclusion. And what is that right conclusion? That I am actually your servant, O Krishna. We will come to that conclusion. Now we are thinking we are masters, or we forget that relationship. Put it that way. We forget that we are the servants of Krishna. We are here for the pleasure of Krishna. We forget that. But when we hear repeatedly, so that eternal relationship will be established. So that is the effect of hearing Krishna Katha from advanced devotees. And so he is mentioning that now I would like to engage in the service of your lotus feet, oh my Lord. I know Mother Lakshmi is also massaging your lotus feet. And I'm afraid that, when I, intrude in her service, she may be little angry with me. She may, she may quarrel with me. This is his, his mood. Mother Lakshmi is actually in the Madhurya Rasa, in conjugal love. So she resides on Lord Vishnu's chest, not only residing on Lord Vishnu's chest, but she does all the services, cooking, cleaning, everything. She does it single-handedly. She would, but here Maharaj Prithu is in the Dasya Rasa. Dasya Rasa means in the servitor mood. So when I command, do some of this service at your lotus feet, I would like to do this service and know that Goddess Mother Lakshmi, who is Jaganmata, who is the mother of the entire universe, maybe may quarrel with me, but but when we quarrel, oh my Lord, you will take, I'm requesting that you take my side. So Prabhupada writes in the purport that, because he's a sincere devotee, even if he does a little bit, Lord will be extremely pleased. When there is a misunderstanding between Mother Lakshmi and myself, I'm sure you will take my part. So, and you will always accept the insignificant service. So I remember the pastime from Ramayana, where that squirrel was bringing some sand grains and pushing into the ocean when they were constructing the bridge, and Hanuman was bringing big mountains and hilltops, and Hanuman said to the squirrel that you move away, because if one stone falls on you, you are dead. So, but Lord Ram said, in my opinion, you both are doing equal service. You are doing the service according to your capacity, and squirrel is doing service to its capacity. Lord sees the intention, not the quantity, but the quality. Mm. Um, mm. So man may see the quantity, but the Lord sees quality. We all have different abilities, but if we can try and do our level best, this devotional service, Lord will be extremely pleased with that service. That is sincerity. That is sincerity. We should be sincere. Mm. And in case is also slightly mentioning, in case because I'm there serving at your feet, if she leaves, no worries for you, my Lord. You can manage, you are self-sufficient, you don't need her. But I would like to offer some service at your feet. So you are self-sufficient, without Lakshmi ji, you produced Brahma. You didn't take any help from Mother Lakshmi to produce Brahma, and you are self-sufficient. You can do anything. So even if she leaves, you will be fine, my Lord. Uh, that is the mood of Prithvi Maharaj. Mm. So all the great people, they serve, and they are liberated people. Actually, once we are doing impure bhakti now. When we do bhakti, it is impure because we are not pure. But when we get to the liberated stage, when we can see everything in relation to the Lord, that time when we perform bhakti, that is pure bhakti. So even the liberated souls, they perform devotional service unto you. And he also mentions, in the Vedas, you offer so many benedictions, going to heavenly planet and other things, etc., etc. These will only, bewilder the common people. Hmm? Um, and then he says at the end, but as a father, not waiting for the son's demand, please bestow upon me whatever you think is the best for me. This is a wonderful benediction. A real father has a real interest. I'm not sure, these days whether whether parents know what is best, isn't it? We don't know whether parents know really what is best for their children. Yeah. So because they don't, parents are not spiritually trained. How can they give the best thing to their children if they don't know themselves? But generally, father acts in the best interest of the child. Just like, I give the example, sometimes you go to supermarket, you have some money, you give what, you spend that, you can buy whatever you want. The shopkeeper is not going to say, this is good for you, this is bad for you. He's not going to say that. Yeah. But whereas a parent who has a real interest in you, who has real knowledge, can guide the child nicely. So, and so that way, oh my Lord, please, as a father, please give me what is best for me. What a wonderful benediction it is. Sometimes, if we ask, I don't know what can we ask for, but how about asking like this? Oh my Lord, give me what is best. What is best? Rather than, please bestow upon me whatever you think is best for me. So what did he say? Initially, he said, I don't want liberation, merging into the Brahman, or merging into your body, then I lose the service opportunity. But what I want to hear your glories, your pastimes, the nectarian message relating to you from the mouth of pure devotees. So I'm very greedy to hear. Please grant me 1 million years. That means let me eternally hear the past, your pastimes. He said, and then he said, just by hearing, one can reestablish that lost relationships. And I also would like to serve your lotus feet. I'm your servant. While serving, I may intrude with Mother Lakshmi, my mother. And she may become a little angry because I'm trying to take her service. But when there is a quarrel, my Lord, I'm sure that you will take my side. Because you accept any insignificant service offered by your devotees, oh my Lord. So please, as a father, grant me the benediction, what you think is best for me. So I've been, researching on this topic on benedictions, and I'm, compiling all these benedictions in a notebook. So, and one day probably, when time permits, we can discuss how different devotees ask benedictions. And sometimes, we don't know, in case Krishna comes to you directly and asks for a boon, you don't know what to ask for. better learn from Prithu Maharaj. This is, copying is very much approved in our tradition. No problem at all. Just copy. Plagiarism is very good. Very much in the material field, when you write your thesis or when you write an article, publish a paper, they say that plagiarism is not good. You can just simply copy and ask for the same benediction. When Dhruva Maharaj was requested benediction by actually Kubera. Kubera wanted to give him a benediction, and he asked, my dear Kubera, please grant me so that I can continuously remember Lord Vishnu. Initially, he had a desire. He actually went to the forest, and his desire was to have a kingdom which is greater than that of Lord Brahma. That was his desire. He wanted to possess a kingdom which is greater than Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma's kingdom is the entire universe. So Dhruva Maharaj had a desire to have a bigger planet, bigger place than that of this entire universe. But after seeing the Lord, he had regretted. Why did I have this material desire that I wanted to have kingdom? And he regretted so much. You're all there. You are part of our group anyway. So we read that Dhruva Maharaj story. So even initially, says, yes, no problem. If you have some desire, no problem. You ask for it. But when we advance, then we only regret for our silly desires, silly desires that we have. Like this, and advanced devotees, I was reading King Rantideva, and his desire, his prayer was, oh my Lord, I wanted to suffer the reactions of all the living entities. You take them back, because they had done so much bad karma. I wanted to suffer for them. This is high level. I wanted to take their karma and suffer here, but please deliver them. This is even higher level. So there are so many wonderful devotees offering prayers, and other devotees, they offer repeatedly. We see, oh my Lord, wherever I am, whether it is hell, heaven, or Vaikunta, wherever I am, my Lord, I needed, please grant me three things. unflinching faith at your lotus feet, and association of your devotees, and friendly relationship with every living entity. Wonderful, what a benediction it is. Unflinching faith on your lotus feet. But just one is important, just association of devotees. So we are very fortunate in this life. We some or other, we got connected to Prabhupada, and we have now wonderful opportunity of hearing, discussing Srimad Bhagavatam. And I sincerely hope Lord will give another opportunity in the next life also to discuss the Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, so there are some queries or comments in the chat box, but I will look at them at the end only. And so let me read do the third section. Arvind Prabhu, can you do the last one, last 6 verses?
Sure, Prabhu.
Oh, I've not shared the screen. Sorry. I was actually thinking that we have completed everything, but no worries, we have done everything.
To the great sage Maitreya continued by saying, the Lord, the seer of the universe, after hearing Prithu Maharaj's prayer, addressed the king. My dear king, may you always be blessed by engaging in my devotional service. Only by such purity of purpose, as you yourself very intelligently express, can one cross over the insurmountable illusory energy of Maya. My dear king, O protector of the citizens, henceforward be very careful to execute my orders and not be misled by anything. Anyone who lives in that way, simply carrying out my orders faithfully, will always find good fortune all over the world. The great Saint Maitreya told Vidura, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, amply appreciate the meaningful prayers of Maharaj Prithu. Thus, after being properly worshipped by the king, the Lord blessed him and decided to depart. King Prithu worshipped the demigods, the great sages, the inhabitants of Pitraloka, the inhabitants of Gandharvaloka, and those of Siddhaloka, Jadana-loka, Vanagaloka, Kinara-loka, Apsara-loka, the earthly planets and the planets of the birds. He also worshipped many other living entities who presented themselves in the sacrificial arena. With folded hands, he worshipped all these, as well as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the personal associates of the Lord, by offering sweet words and as much wealth as possible. After this function, they all went back to their respective abodes, following in the footsteps of Lord Vishnu. The infallible Supreme Personality of Godhead, having captivated the minds of the king and the priests who were present, returned to his abode in the spiritual sky. King Prithu then offered his respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Supreme Lord of all demigods. Although not an object of material vision, the Lord revealed himself to the sight of Maharaj Prithu. After offering obeisances to the Lord, the king returned to his home. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Just a couple of minutes to complete this section very quickly. Lord was very much pleased with the prayers, by the prayers of King Prithu. And he said, please execute my orders. What were his orders? His orders were that he has to rule all the subjects nicely. So we have to execute the orders of Lord Krishna. Then he's saying that if we execute the orders of Lord Krishna, we will have good fortune. What are the orders of Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita? He says, Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame veshyasi yuktaivam atmanam parayanaha. Prabhupada writes this. This is the best order. He says, always think of me. Manmana, become my devotee. Always think of me, become my devotee. Bhava madbhakto, madhyaji, you worship me. Mam namaskuru, you pay your homage unto me. If you do this on a regular basis, you will come to me. And Krishna says the famous verse in the Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Dharman Parityarcha, abandon all varieties of religion, surrender unto me, depend on me. So these are the orders for us from Bhagavad Gita. And so Lord then blessed him with the devotion. Lord said, yes, you will. He said, yeah, you always be blessed by engaging in my devotional service. So Lord, gave him pure bhakti. And so that's how this chapter ends. Yes, there were other beings as well from other planetary system who accompanied the Lord. So Prabhupada writes that people think there is no one, no living entity elsewhere, but Prabhupada writes in the purport saying that and nothing is empty in this universe. We may or may not be able to see with our physical eyes, but sarvagataha means living entities are present everywhere. Okay, so let me just see the chat box. There were 2 comments here. Okay. How does one take? Hare Krishna Prabhu, how does one take and act when our anger or feeling is challenged? What is good to do? All this Casey and chanting. It's sorry, my computer is a little bit playing up, but let me see. Not able to see it fully. Yeah, 1 second. Okay. Atul Prabhu, you want to ask your question directly? Makes easy. Are you there, Atul Prabhu? Okay, so I'll talk to him, no problem. Let me just summarize this in 1 or 2 minutes. Yeah. So following the advice of Lord Brahma, King Prithu had stopped his 100th sacrifice, and thereby he pleased Lord Brahma and also Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu appeared in the sacrificial arena of King Prithu. He brought Indra along with him. You remember this? Indra committed an offense against Lord Krishna in Govardhan Leela. You remember? That time he was accompanied by whom? Surabhi cow. Surabhi cow. So he was accompanied by Surabhi cow. Surabhi cow, Mother Surabhi and King Indra came and beg pardon from Lord Krishna. Here, Lord Vishnu himself came along with Indra. So, and then he asked Prithu Maharaj to forgive Indra. Prithu Maharaj forgave. Lord Indra was trying to fall down at the feet of King Prithu for his offense. But however, King Prithu was so magnanimous, he just picked him up and embraced him. And later, Lord, gave him wonderful instruction as a king. Please continue to rule the kingdom. You need not to go anywhere, and you can just rule the kingdom and worship me at the same time. That way, you can achieve perfection. And then Prithu Maharaj, then he asked Prithu Maharaj to ask for a boon. Prithu Maharaj asked for a wonderful boon. He said that, let me have millions of years, let me hear Krishna Katha from the pure devotees, advanced devotees, and let me engage at your service at the feet of, at your lotus feet, service at your lotus feet. And then he also said, my Lord, as a father, you grant me whatever is the best benediction you think. Lord blessed him, saying that you will always be engaged in unalloyed devotion unto me. That's how this chapter ends. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Sorry, I had a question. Is it okay to ask?
Sure.
You mentioned that it is a duty for parents to obviously their whole family make sure they're Krishna conscious, but there's no guarantee that your children will remain Krishna conscious, isn't it? Because they've got obviously their own karma, their only, I mean, you know,
Yeah.
Is that
That's
correct?
a good question. That's a good question. So to answer your question, Arvind Prabhu, we do our best. If we do not do our best, that is our problem. But if we try and do our best and still things go wrong, then that's okay. Just like if you remember, you were there as well. We were reading King Anga's story. Anga had a bad son. Anga was a wonderful devotee. You remember that pastime? Yes. King Vena was a very nasty son. So King Anga tried to correct him many times, but it didn't work out. So what he developed detachment. So regarding your question, yes, we will try our level best to train them up nicely. Yeah, if it doesn't work, that's okay, no problem. At least we had done our duty, and that way we will not incur in any karmic reaction.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Okay, anyone else? Hare Krishna. Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Krupa Sindhubhyaeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for
Hare
wonderful.
Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you all. So I humbly request all the devotees to actually read the purports thoroughly.
Hare Krishna.
Hare